Sometimes, it takes a broken engine to remind you of the promises you made as a kid. Elon Musk leaned back in his leather seat, staring blankly out the window of his jet. Below, a quilt of green forest stretched endlessly across the northeastern United States, dotted with sleepy towns and winding rivers. His phone vibrated again, another urgent text from his assistant. He ignored it. "Mr. Musk," the pilot's voice crackled through the intercom, calm but firm. "We've got a mechanical issue. We need to land immediately. Closest option is Burlington, Vermont." Elon blinked. Vermont, he muttered to himself. That wasn't even on the flight path. He was supposed to be in Boston for a meeting about Tesla's next battery facility. "How long on the ground?" he asked. "Could be 4, maybe 5 hours, sir. Mechanics are waiting. But we have to land now." Elon sighed and closed his laptop, glancing at the clock. Just past 11 a.m. He had skipped breakfast and was already running on his third cup of coffee. He didn't know much about Vermont, except that it had maple syrup and snow, neither of which he cared for at the moment. The jet descended smoothly into Burlington International Airport. As the plane taxied to a halt, a black Tesla Model X was already waiting on the tarmac. The driver, a young woman with a thick North Country accent, greeted him as he stepped out into the crisp fall air. "Welcome to Burlington, Mr. Musk. I'm Natalie. They said it'll be a few hours. You want to head downtown, get some food?" Elon considered saying no. He could wait in the airport lounge, answer emails, distract himself. But something tugged at him. A weariness that came from years of being on all the time. Maybe he needed air. Maybe he just needed something else. "Take me somewhere quiet," he said. "Local. Not fancy. Just real." Natalie smiled. "I know just the place." 15 minutes later, they pulled into a small gravel lot beside an old diner nestled among towering maple trees. Its name, the Red Spoon, was barely legible on a weather-beaten sign swinging in the wind. The building was small, white wooden siding, red window frames, and a hand-painted open sign on the door. A row of pumpkins sat on the front steps, leftovers from last week's fall festival. "Locals love it," Natalie said. "No one bothers celebrities here, if they even recognize you." Elon pulled his baseball cap lower and stepped inside. A brass bell above the door jingled. The scent hit him immediately, coffee, butter, and something sweet baking in the back. The place was quiet. Only 3 other tables were occupied, 2 elderly women talking about gardening, a student typing away on a laptop, and a dad reading a book while his toddler colored. No cameras. No questions. No attention. For the first time that day, Elon exhaled. A waitress, mid-50s, graying hair in a loose braid, apron covered in flour, approached the counter. "What can I get you, hon?" she asked with a warm smile. "Coffee," Elon replied. "And whatever's good today. Apple cinnamon pancakes or turkey hash. We make both from scratch." "Hash it is." She scribbled on a pad. "Name's Linda, if you need anything." She slid a coffee mug toward him. As Linda walked away, Elon glanced around. The walls were covered with old postcards, faded newspaper clippings, and black and white photographs of the town over the years, snowstorms, parades, a county fair from 1985. Then he saw him. Through the narrow serving window behind the counter, a figure stood at the sink, sleeves rolled up, scrubbing pots with methodical ease. He was humming some old folk tune and laughing at something the cook beside him had said. There was something oddly familiar about the way he moved. The slant of his shoulders. The quick but careful hands. Elon narrowed his eyes. And then the man turned. For a moment, the years collapsed. It couldn't be. No way. But it was. That jawline. That scar above the eyebrow. The voice was deeper now, but unmistakable. Noah. The name left Elon's mouth before he could stop it. The dishwasher froze. Then slowly, he turned again. Their eyes met through the steam and stainless steel and decades. "Elon," he said, barely louder than a whisper. A pot slipped from his hands and clanged into the sink. Linda looked up, startled. So did the cook. Neither of them noticed. Elon stood, legs unsteady, coffee forgotten. Noah dropped the sponge, wiped his hands, and walked around the counter, apron still on. His gait had changed, a slight limp now, but there was still something familiar in how he carried himself. Reserved. Steady. They stopped in front of each other. "It's really you," Elon said. "Yeah," Noah replied, voice cracking a little. "It's been a long time." "Almost 35 years, Elon murmured. Linda stepped in. "You two know each other?" Elon didn't answer. He couldn't. Noah offered a half smile. "We were good kids. Back in Ontario." They sat at a booth in the far corner, away from curious glances. The years had changed them both, graying temples, laugh lines, a weariness earned through life. But beneath it all, the connection was instant. "You still remember me?" Elon asked, almost hesitant. "How could I forget?" Noah replied. "You were the kid who swore he'd build rockets and send people to Mars." "You were the one who believed I actually could," Elon said. Noah chuckled. "I did. And you did." A silence fell between them, not awkward, but heavy with the weight of lost years. "I thought you stayed in Ontario," Elon said. "What are you doing here, in Vermont? Washing dishes?" Noah took a sip of water, then looked out the window. "That's a long story. I have time." And just like that, the dam broke. Noah had gotten a full scholarship to study environmental engineering. He had dreams of designing renewable energy systems for underserved communities in the Canadian North. He was brilliant, driven, but life had other plans. His father passed away during Noah's second year. His mother, already struggling with health issues, needed care. He dropped out to support her, moved south to Vermont to be closer to her sister. One odd job led to another. He took work where he could, carpentry, night shifts, and eventually this diner. "She passed 5 years ago," Noah said quietly. "I stayed. Got used to the quiet. People here are kind. Simple life. Not much, but enough." Elon listened, silent. This wasn't just a story about lost potential, it was a story about sacrifice. About love. About choices that didn't make headlines but held weight nonetheless. "You could have been." "I know," Noah interrupted gently. "But I couldn't walk away from my family." Elon looked down. Suddenly, his billion-dollar meetings felt small. "I used to think I was racing toward the future," Elon said. "But maybe I was just running from the past." Noah smiled. "You were always meant to build big things, Elon. I just wanted to keep the lights on at home." They sat like that for a long while, two boys who had grown into men, reunited by fate, tethered by a promise that neither of them had ever truly let go of. "Do you remember what we said, under the maple tree?" Elon finally asked. Noah nodded. "You said we'd meet again someday. After we changed the world." Elon smiled. "Maybe it's not too late." The pancakes had gone cold. Neither of them touched their plates. Elon had never been so full on just conversation. After a pause, Noah stood. "Come with me. I want to show you something." Elon raised an eyebrow. "You'll see," Noah said with a small smile. They stepped out into the crisp Vermont air. The sun peeked through amber-colored maple trees, casting dappled shadows on the cracked pavement. Noah led Elon around the back of the diner, past a shed that looked like it hadn't been used in years. Noah unlocked it with a key from his apron pocket and pushed the door open with a creak. Elon stopped in the doorway. The shed was something else entirely. It was a workshop. A small, dust-covered sanctuary of innovation. Wooden shelves lined the walls, stacked with salvaged electronics, coils of wire, tools older than Elon remembered owning. On the workbench sat sketches, circuit boards, and a half-built solar-powered water heater. "You built all this?" Elon asked. Noah nodded, almost shyly. "On weekends. Nights. Whenever I could. It's not much." "It's a lot," Elon said, stepping inside. The space smelled of sawdust, copper, and old dreams. Elon ran his hand across one of the blueprints pinned to the wall. It was a design for a low-cost, modular solar grid. "I've seen something like this," Elon said. "But this is more efficient. You've reworked the battery placement. Using repurposed car batteries," Noah added. "Cheaper. More accessible in rural areas." Elon turned to face him. "You never stopped." Noah shrugged. "Ideas don't die. They just wait." There was a quiet fire behind his eyes. The same fire Elon remembered from when they were kids, lying on their backs beneath that maple tree, dreaming about energy and space and a better world. "How long have you been working on this?" "Since Mom passed," Noah said. "Gave me time to think. To build. I wanted to finish what I started in college, even if no one ever saw it." "Well," Elon said, "someone's seeing it now." They sat on two stools in the corner of the workshop. Outside, the late afternoon sun filtered through the warped windows. Elon couldn't stop staring at the designs. The logic. The precision. The vision. This could work, he said, more to himself than to Noah. In remote villages. In disaster zones. It's scalable. Noah nodded. That was the idea. "I've been corresponding with a few engineers online, never gave them my real name. Just wanted to test the feasibility." Elon turned to him. "Why didn't you push this further? Pitch it? Submit it somewhere?" Noah gave a bitter chuckle. "Hard to get taken seriously when your resume says dishwasher, 12 years. Elon didn't laugh. Instead, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small leather wallet. From it, he removed something wrapped in a soft cloth. He unwrapped it carefully. A meteorite fragment. Dark, heavy, and speckled with ancient stardust. Noah froze. His eyes widened. "You kept it," he whispered. "Every day since you gave it to me," Elon said. "Through PayPal. Tesla. SpaceX. Every launch. Every failure. It's been with me." Noah swallowed hard. "I kept mine too." He reached under the collar of his flannel shirt and pulled out a thin chain. From it dangled a tiny pouch. He opened it and poured a nearly identical fragment into his palm. They placed the two halves together on the workbench. "Perfect fit. Looks like our promises aged better than we did," Noah joked. But Elon didn't laugh. He looked at the meteorite for a long time. Then at Noah. "Come work with me." Noah blinked. "What?" "At Tesla. Or SpaceX. Or whatever division we need to create for this. For you. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering partnership." Noah leaned back, stunned. "Elon, I haven't touched a formal engineering tool in years. I don't even have a degree. And I'm not 25 anymore. You're the same mind that inspired me to start in the first place," Elon said, voice firm. "You don't need credentials when you have results. And this," he pointed at the design, "this is a result." Noah looked away. "It's not that simple. I have a daughter now. Her name's Lily. She's 10. Smartest kid you've ever met. I can't just upend everything." "I'm not asking you to leave her behind," Elon said. "I'm asking what it would look like for you and her to step into something more." Noah was silent for a long time. Then he stood and walked to the far end of the shed, where a series of drawings were pinned to a corkboard. Elon followed. The drawings were clearly Lily's, crayon sketches of windmills, solar houses, stars with labels like Daddy's rocket and light for Grandma's house. She wants to build, too, Noah said. Says she'll design floating houses one day. Elon smiled. She might. A beat passed. Then Noah turned. If I say yes, what happens next? We start small, Elon said. I bring your design to my team. You come consult. You don't have to move to California, not yet. But we make this real. And Lily? She's part of the journey. Noah looked down at the meteorite halves, still resting side by side. I never thought this would be the day everything changed, he murmured. I did, Elon said quietly. I just didn't know it would be today. That night, Noah invited Elon to dinner at his modest cabin just outside town. The place was humble, wood-burning stove, creaky floorboards, a deck that looked out over the trees, but it felt like home. Lily greeted Elon at the door with a wide grin and a handshake she must have practiced in the mirror. You're the guy with rockets, she said. And you're the girl with floating house designs, Elon replied. She beamed. Want to see my windmill prototype? Absolutely. They spent the evening eating homemade chili, talking about energy, and watching Lily explain her backup battery made of old soda cans. Elon couldn't stop smiling. Somewhere between dessert and the second cup of tea, Noah asked, Why me, Elon? After all these years? Elon leaned back in his chair. Because when I was 12 and wanted to build a ship to Mars, everyone laughed, except you. You didn't just believe. You helped me build the first model. Noah's expression softened. You were the first person who didn't treat my dream like a joke, Elon said. And I never forgot that. The room fell silent. Outside, wind rustled through the maples. Inside, a fire crackled. The world, for once, was quiet. And in that quiet, something old was rekindled, a promise not just between two friends, but between a dream and the courage it takes to keep it alive, even when no one's watching. The next morning, Elon stood on Noah's back deck, holding a cup of steaming black coffee and watching the forest come alive with soft golden light. Somewhere inside, Lily was getting ready for school, chattering about her science fair project. Noah was packing her lunch. The smell of toast and maple syrup floated through the open screen door. For the first time in months, Elon didn't feel rushed. He felt still. That didn't happen often. Noah stepped outside beside him, 2 mugs in hand. She thinks you're the coolest person alive. Elon smirked. Well, I do have rockets. She's already planning a colony on Venus. Said Mars is too dusty. They both chuckled. Then silence. Not awkward. Just full. Do you remember that summer in Ontario, Elon said, when we tried to build a solar car out of plywood and lawnmower wheels? Noah grinned. You had the designs. I had the tools. It didn't turn. At all. We said we'd try again the next summer, Elon said quietly. But you left. Elon nodded. I always wondered if you were angry, he admitted. Noah looked over. I wasn't. I was sad. But I knew why you had to go. Another pause. Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. This is what I want to build with you. With Lily. With whoever wants to chase this dream. He unfolded the page. It was a rough concept sketch, a version of Noah's original solar grid system, annotated with Elon's notes. Improvements. Innovations. Possibilities. It's your design, Elon said, with a few upgrades. Noah leaned in. You worked on this last night? Barely slept, Elon replied. I think this could work in more than just disaster zones. Think about rural communities. Tribal nations. Off-grid homes. Schools in need. It's not just about energy, it's about freedom. Noah ran a hand through his hair. It's like you never stopped dreaming. I didn't, Elon said. But somewhere along the way, I forgot how to share those dreams. Noah folded the blueprint carefully, as if it were sacred. I want in. All the way. You sure? Absolutely. By midweek, Elon's private team had flown into Vermont, setting up a temporary mobile lab in a rented space downtown. Engineers from Tesla's energy division, a couple of product designers, and even a logistics manager had arrived with tablets and notebooks in hand. But all eyes were on Noah as he stepped into the room, dressed in clean jeans, a worn canvas jacket, and holding a handful of his original sketches. Some looked skeptical. A few tried to hide it. Elon noticed. He cleared his throat. This, he said, gesturing to Noah, is the reason we're all here. His design sparked this entire initiative. One of the engineers raised an eyebrow. With all due respect, Mr. Musk, he doesn't have formal credentials. No degree. No work history in the field. Noah looked down. Elon didn't. And yet, Elon said calmly, he built a self-sustaining solar-heated water system in a workshop smaller than your office. He's designed a scalable microgrid that reduces cost by 60%. And he taught his 10-year-old daughter how to calculate voltage drop. The room fell quiet. Elon looked at Noah. Show them. Noah stepped forward, his voice steady. Clear. He explained the modular layout, the recycled battery matrix, the adaptive control systems that didn't rely on Wi-Fi or even 4G. He drew diagrams by hand, answered questions without hesitation. And slowly, one by one, the engineers leaned forward, began to nod, and started taking notes. When he finished, the room was dead silent. Then someone said, "This could work." Another, "This is actually genius." Elon smiled. "I told you," he said. That evening, they returned to Noah's place. Lily was already outside, waiting. "Did you tell them about my floating houses?" she asked. Next time, Elon winked. Inside, over dinner, the mood was lighter. Lily shared her volcano experiment gone wrong. Noah teased Elon about still being a terrible cook, and Elon found himself laughing like he hadn't in months. Later, Noah showed Elon an old photo album. Buried between birthday snapshots and school pictures was a photo of the two of them under the maple tree, ages 12 and 13. Elon was holding a homemade rocket. Noah was wearing safety goggles 3 sizes too big. On the back, in Noah's childish scrawl, "One day, we'll build the future." Elon traced the words with his thumb. "I kept that photo all these years," Noah said. "Even when I didn't believe in anything else. I believed in that moment." Elon didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Instead, he reached for his phone and opened a note. Project Maple. That would be the name. Not for branding. Not for marketing. For them. For the promise made under that tree. The next morning, Elon made a call. It was to the Department of Energy, requesting a partnership for a pilot program to bring off-grid power to underserved communities. Then he made another, this time to the University of Vermont's engineering dean. "I've got a prodigy for you," he said. "No degree, but you'll want him teaching your professors." Over the next few weeks, things moved fast. Tesla announced Project Maple as a rural solar initiative designed for resilience and affordability. Noah was officially named Chief Community Systems Architect. A small team was assembled to refine the prototype. Lily's crayon designs were framed and hung on the office wall. A reminder that the future starts in imagination, not spreadsheets. And in the center of it all, 2 men, one the richest man on earth, the other a quiet single father from Vermont, stood side by side. Elon was no longer just building systems. He was building legacies. And rediscovering the boy he once was. 6 months later, the wind whispered through the maple trees once more, this time carrying more than leaves. It carried change. Noah stood beside Elon in the middle of a clearing just outside a small indigenous village in northern Arizona. The land was dry, But the people were resilient. For years, this place had gone without consistent electricity, generators powered by diesel, unreliable grids, and long nights by candlelight. Not anymore. Behind them stood a compact power hub, glistening under the desert sun. Rows of solar panels, all linked through Noah's microgrid design, stood like quiet sentinels. In the center was a hand-built structure, the maple node. That was Lily's idea. "It's where the energy grows," she'd said. And now, the switch was ready. A young girl from the village, about Lily's age, stepped up to the panel, her braids swinging. Noah knelt beside her, offering the same instructions he'd once given Lily for her science fair light bulb. "Just flip that switch." The girl looked to her grandmother, who nodded. Then, with a small hand and wide eyes, she flipped the breaker. Lights flickered on. In homes, on pathways, inside a small school building where chalkboards had never shared a wall with a digital screen. A quiet gasp swept across the crowd. And then, cheers. Tears. Hope. Elon stayed after the crowd dispersed, watching the sun dip low over the mesas. Noah walked up beside him, silent at first. "It's done," Noah said, voice low. "No," Elon replied. "It's just begun." They sat together on a rock at the edge of the field, meteorite halves in hand. The same pieces they had once held as boys under a maple tree in Ontario. "This feels like what we meant to do," Noah said. "It is what we meant to do," Elon replied. "We just took different roads to get here." A long silence stretched between them. Not because there was nothing to say, but because words weren't always needed. Then Noah added, "You ever think about what would have happened if you never came to that diner?" "All the time," Elon said. "And I think, maybe the engine didn't fail. Maybe something bigger redirected me." He turned to face his old friend. "You could have given up. You could have stopped building. But you didn't." Noah smiled. "Neither did you." That night, back at Elon's New Mexico facility, they hosted a small dinner to honor the launch. A few engineers. A few village leaders. Lily, who was now being mentored by Tesla's youngest innovation team. And Elon's son, who had flown in quietly that afternoon. There was no media. No ceremony. Just people who believed in building things that mattered. Over dessert, Elon tapped his glass and stood. "I've made billions of dollars," he began. "Built companies, launched rockets, and spoken to world leaders. But nothing, and I mean nothing, feels as real as what we did today." He paused. Today wasn't about innovation. It was about redemption. About promises kept. About light, both literal and within. He turned to Noah. "I'm grateful the engine failed. I'm grateful for the diner. For the pancakes. For the meteorite. For you." Noah's eyes shimmered, but he didn't look away. "You reminded me," Elon continued, "why I started. And you reminded me that legacy isn't just what you build, it's who you bring with you when you build it." Applause rose, but it wasn't loud. It was warm. Honest. Like the evening itself. Before they parted that night, Elon handed Lily a wrapped box. She opened it slowly. Inside was a small watch, simple, elegant. But its face held something rare, a fragment of the same meteorite, polished and set like a starburst. "What's this?" she asked. "It's a piece of a promise," Elon said. "Made long before you were born. But now, it's yours to carry." As Elon flew back east the next morning, watching the clouds roll beneath his jet, he didn't feel like he was leaving something behind. He felt like he was finally carrying something forward. He reached into his pocket and held the remaining half of the meteorite. It was heavier than he remembered. Or maybe he was just beginning to understand its weight. Sometimes, the world doesn't need more ideas, it needs people who refuse to forget the ones they already carry. This story isn't about billionaires or engineers. It's about you. The part of you that once held a dream, only to quietly place it on a shelf when life became heavy. The part of you that still sketches in the margins, still imagines when no one's watching, still holds on to hope, even after years of doing dishes, paying bills, and surviving the noise. Don't abandon that dream. Even if it takes 30 years to find its voice again. Even if it begins in the most unlikely place, a worn-down diner, in the middle of nowhere. Because that dream never left you. And somewhere out there, someone is waiting for you to bring it back to life. If you're ready to reignite that spark, consider diving into The Second Mountain by David Brooks, a moving reflection on the journey from achievement to deeper purpose, or Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, a practical guide to reimagining your career and path with intention and creativity. And if this story stirred something in you, don't keep it inside. Share it with someone who might need to hear it. Write down the dream you thought you lost. Take one small step, no matter how uncertain, toward rebuilding it. Because maybe, just maybe, the most important promises aren't the ones you make to the world, but the ones you made to yourself, under a maple tree, a long time ago.